G'day guys, Captain the Ship Man in Charge, Bradley J. Driver. Welcome to A Lot to Talk About, back here for another visual interview series with a very special guest here in Sydney. Look at the iconic scenes behind us. We've got the bridge, the Opera House right in front of us, and Luna Park out there to your right. But I'm here with my man, Mr. Tom Ford. How are you, brother?
I'm good, I'm happy to be here, my man.
Really good to have you. It's funny, we were just talking about a minute ago, every time I search you online, the famous international designer comes up. Do you have anything to do with that?
No, nothing at all. I had his name first. When I was born and I got given Tom Ford, it wasn't a thing. So I'm going to put that there.
Well, let me tell you, brother, you're making waves, man. People are starting to get to know you, and in fact, a lot of people know exactly what you're all about because you're nearly at 1 million followers on TikTok.
That's right. It's unreal and it came all unexpected. So I'm loving it and making the most of it.
And this is like, if I look at your content, and I was saying to you before when we just first met, this is the first time we've sort of met and had a chat properly today.
That's right.
Is me and all my mates share your stuff around because it's very relatable. Like, we all grew up at school going through those situations and scenarios that you play out in your skits. And a lot of it is about being a high school boy in Australia, and I guess the highs and lows of that life. So where does that inspo come from you? Is it just your school days and those stories?
Dude, mainly my mates, I'd say. Like, you go, like, I make my content about, try to make it about relatable stuff, and everyone went through school, like you said before, so everyone understands it, and I'll pinpoint something that, everyone went through, and then just exaggerate the shit out of it, and hopefully get a laugh out of it. So it's sick that people like it and share it around. So
for you, this has all come about quite candidly, where it was just you making content, but now all of a sudden there's nearly 1 million people that watch you. When you began this, was this just you having fun with mates online?
Oh yeah, it was, I mainly got into it because I was procrastinating for HSE, and so like I'd sit at my desk, and then a couple of my mates had the app, but I think that was back when people downloaded TikTok as a joke. Yeah. So it wasn't actually a thing that people did, and then once I downloaded the app and I'm sitting at my desk, trying to get some work done, and I think about the relatable stuff that happens at school. Your teacher walks past you during an exam, or when they say time's up, all that sort of jazz, and then I'd make it, post it to my 10 followers, which were all my mates, and other people started liking it, started blowing up. I was like, oh, I got something going on here. So
How does it feel at first when you start to see that that's obviously really relatable to the viewers and the people that watch, and then you start to see that viewer count and the follower count go crazy? Did it happen very much overnight, or has this been a thing where over the course of a couple years it's just slowly but surely grown?
No, I'd say a course of a couple years. It was like, it's been a constant like incline. It never like stopped or anything, which was sick. But when you get viral videos, and that's what if one video goes viral, that kind of like starts it off. So that's when you get your first like 10K followers, and then you make some more videos similar to that, and then people like it, and then it just keeps on going up. But there was spikes and then steadiness and spikes. It's just the beauty of it. You never know.
It's weird. I remember going through a similar phase. Not that I blew up, but early lockdown in the first sort of hit of COVID in Sydney. I remember being at home and I was like, this TikTok thing's actually quite a guilty pleasure. Like, it's a lot of fun. Oh yeah. And I remember that sound that was going around TikTok, Vetus, the guy that used to wear that like white body style suit, and like he used to sing, and it was like, you know the one I'm talking about?
No, I haven't seen him.
You know the one he's like sort of floating around the stage like, oh
mate, was it like a dance he did?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Really weird character. Okay. Like, it's hard to explain him, and I just thought his outfit kind of looked like aluminium foil. Right. So I covered myself in aluminium foil and lip synced that. Right. And it was kind of like a real close up in my face, so it wasn't pretty. Yeah. And it got like, I think it got 100,000 views. And in my head I was like, that's fucking weird, because there's like 500 people that follow me on this app. So like, how does that work? Exactly. And I started to understand that this TikTok concept is actually quite powerful, and it has that ability to go really viral, or virality, and you're experiencing that now to the first degree. That's right. So talk to me about how that goes from just being a whole heap of fun to now providing you with professional opportunities.
How does that go? Well, basically, so it starts off as fun, your mates are liking it, people are liking it, and then next thing you know, you've got businesses and brands emailing you and asking, oh look, I want you to do this, I like your content, I think you'd be good at doing this, I'd give you so and so. And then my agent Jordan, if you're listening to this, legend, then he came up and took me under his wing, and he gives me all these good jobs now, which is sick. And the beauty of it is they don't, how do I say this, control your content. You can still posting all your content that you like. You don't get censored or limited to like what you get to post. And then when it, you know, maybe a brand deal comes along or something like that, then they'll tell you what you need to do, what you can and can't, and then you do that, and then you can just go back to your usual stuff. So it's good.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, flexible.
Talk to me about the insecurities of getting virality. Like, was there ever a time for you where you started to worry that like, oh, what are my mates going to think when I post this? What are my family going to think? And what happens if I make a video that isn't relatable? That the audience don't get the joke that I thought was fucking hilarious? Yeah, no,
it does happen. It more happened at the start. I mean, now I'll post and you know, there's no insecurities. If I'm happy with it and I put it out there, you know, you can't make everyone happy, but it's just that, you know, at the end of the day, I'll post what I think I like, and if other people like it, that's like the bonus. But you basically, as long as you just stay like true to yourself and your content, you don't start changing your content to please others, you still post content that you like, it actually works a lot better than trying to change. Because people will catch on if you're trying to change, I feel, and then they'll be like, you know,
people know when it's not authentic.
Exactly, yeah.
So, with all of this blowing up now, let's say, and for your sake, I really hope it does, it continues to move in that direction, which I have no doubt. You're a creative fellow, and we spoke about some of your plans just before. Let's say Hollywood calls.
Hollywood, wow.
You know what I mean? Are you up for that sort of stuff?
I'd be so up for that. That'd be sick. Obviously, it's crossed my mind quite a lot, and it's definitely something, you know, I'd give a go. But I mean, I've seen TikTok, like it's just TikTok, you know, people might say, but I have seen, you know, there are creators on TikTok that have been recognized from, you know, bigger things, so then they can move out of, you know, TikTok's been their starting thing, they've got recognized from that, and then they move out of that because I mean, it's hit like 1 billion users, so it's like it's a big thing now. It's not just some app that you know, learn how to fucking renegade to, so there's a bit of comedy,
and I still haven't learned, so.
There's talent on there, so
for sure. And I think the thing is, I think the world's now starting to realize that social media is a very real thing. Like, whilst it's part of that virtual world, we're moving into a phase of life where you know, even in some cases athletically, athletes are judged based off the amount of social media followers they have. So it's not always positive, it's not always on merit, but sometimes it's actually really helpful and really handy. Like, we're sitting here now talking about a lot to talk about, and you know, this podcast that I've created, that wouldn't be a possibility without that world.
Oh no.
So you must feel appreciative for it and appreciative for the fact that you found it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, and the beauty of it is that it's always changing. So it's always going to bring in new people and like new creators with new sort of content, because I mean, think about, like, social media changes every year.
It does,
there's always something different. There's always a new trend. So it just brings in new people, and then there's always going to be something on there that people can post. So that's the beauty of it.
Well, we're going to move this interview on from the bridge to somewhere else in the city. So let's go.
Let's go.
So Tom, we were talking about what you're doing now, the potential opportunities that will come around with acting, and you know, potentially something like Hollywood, and going over and being in different parts of the world, filming and being an entertainer of all sorts. Talk to me about the bucket list, not just professionally but in life. What are some of those things that you want to do and that are on that list?
Right, well, I definitely, I'm at uni at the moment. I want to smack that out. And you know, I've got my back up there, and then I'm planning on next year doing a lot of traveling and making videos as well, like while I'm traveling and stuff like that. I reckon that would be sick, a change of scenery. And then a year after, I want to give acting a smack. I want to see how I can go with there, because like I've always been interested in it. You know, I see these big actors on TV, and I'm like, look, that would be sick. Like, I reckon that's awesome. Yeah, big time. And I've always loved, you know, doing like bits of acting. I mean, you could say TikTok, there's a bit there, but I want to give that a go, see how that goes. You know, devote a whole year to it, and if I like it, then I like it. And
you know what fascinates me about that world of acting and movies is, like, I'm a guy whose mind changes quite consistently. Like, I love one thing 1 minute, I'm interested in something else the next. I love the idea that, like, you could dedicate yourself to a role for 6 months, be a completely different person in another world. And then, like, my favourite movie of all time is Catch Me If You Can with Leo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks.
I haven't seen it.
Because it's like, it's great. It's actually based on a true story, and it's this guy who basically commits fraud for a big part of his life, but he fakes being a doctor, fakes being a fucking, what do they call him, a pilot.
Right.
He just fakes all these different jobs, a lawyer.
Okay.
And finds a way to like fraudulently get his way through it.
Yeah.
And the thing that fascinates me is I'm like, that guy had done so many things in his life, and he's actually a real human being.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
it's quite interesting.
Character. Yeah, new character every single time. I reckon that'd be awesome. Sick job, and it's definitely something I want to look into.
So who's your favourite actor, and what's your favourite movie?
I reckon I'd probably say Leonardo. And favourite movie, I thought Wolf of Wall Street was pretty sick.
Yeah,
I reckon that was a
movie.
sick movie. But no, the Leonardo, I don't know if you've seen the movie, what's that, when he was real young. It's like when he got recognised for it, he was playing a disabled person. Have you heard of it?
I haven't seen the movie, but I've been seeing clips of it on TikTok actually.
Yeah, he's real disabled, and he's trying to wake up his mum.
Yes.
I should know the name of it. I've forgotten it. I saw it.
He's been in so many great movies.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's just through his career matured heaps.
Oh yeah, big time. No, but his performance in this movie when he was playing this disabled kid was unreal. Like he was real young at the time, and Johnny Depp was also in it. He debuted in that movie. That's when he got kind of well known. But nah, he was sick in that movie, and that was like, you know, that it'd be pretty awesome to do that sort of stuff. So yeah.
100%. Talking a little bit about life off the screen, and I connected with you on Insta, right? And your Insta and your TikTok are kind of different worlds. Your TikTok is where you put on that character and you play that role. And your Insta is very much, I guess there's a little bit of that comes across, but your Insta is very much who you are as a human being in life. And one of the things I picked up is you love to surf. We were speaking about just a few moments ago, your passion for surfing and what that does for you. Explain a little bit to us what that hobby means and what it does for your mental health too.
Look, all my mates surfed. You know, early days at school they were all surfing, and I'd always go to the beach and just you know, soak up the sun and watch them and stuff. I never to be honest, I actually had a bit of a fear for the ocean when I was younger.
I was the same.
Yeah, when I was in the ocean, I was like my mates would go swimming. I'd be like, guys, you know, the flags aren't there. You know, let's go swim in the flags. Let's just be safe and stuff. They'd be like, oh, you know, relax and stuff like that. It's sweet. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'd literally go like walk over to the flags and swim in there by myself. But no, and then after school, I was like, okay, I should really give this a go. Like I always knew that I'd enjoy it, but I just didn't have the
So this is recent.
No, I only got into it like year 12, like just as I was finishing school.
So 2 years.
And honestly, man, I do it for fun. I'm not doing it competitive or anything. And we all go out together and stuff, our mates and stuff. So what we do when we link up. And it's awesome being in the sun. You get a vitamin D, you get the salt on your face, and it's therapeutic, good for the head. So much fun, the whole social side of it. And it's one of those sports you can do for a long time. You know, like you can't play footy when you're, you know, 50 years old. So, but surfing you can do. I've seen like 65-year-old blokes out there on 10-foot mows, and they're loving it.
And they're always chilled, eh?
Oh yeah, big time. It's always nice out there. Everyone's friendly.
What's your favourite wave in Sydney to surf, and what's the dream wave to be able to go and chase overseas?
Mona Vale. Mona Vale in the northern beaches. That's like where we go. It's always the spot that we surf, which is sick. And then our dream wave. Probably Pipeline on a small day.
Okay. I've actually been to Pipeline in Hawaii when I was like, not to surf, just to have a geeze. When I was probably like, I would have been like 16 or 15, right? And I remember this day, we went on this tour of like the northern part of Oahu, and we went to Pipeline, but just before Pipeline, we went to where they have the big wave surfing, Waima Bay.
Waima, yeah.
I hope I said that right. And insane, like I'm talking, it was 25 foot.
Oh yeah.
And they were supposed to have the big wave comp that day, and they said, oh, we might wait until it's a bit bigger.
Yeah. Bigger? Yeah, no. The gnarly thing about that wave is it gets real shallow real quick, so it turns into a massive shorey, and it sucks up, and there's so much water moving, you know. The lip of the wave could be like, I'm telling you, like,
it's so scary. You're looking at it like,
oh yeah.
Well, even then we went to Pipeline straight after, like half an hour later, and I remember looking, the thing that caught my eye and I can't forget is big surf and these guys coming out of these massive tubes, but there were all these broken boards in the sand, and you'd see a guy come in, his board snapped in half, stick it in the sand, grab another one out, and go straight back out. And I'm like, they're crazy fuckers.
I know, yeah, fully. No, you gotta be athletic to do that, to, you know, surf waves like that.
Well, 2 years in the game, maybe there's still hope for me yet.
Yeah.
25,
I reckon you should
Might get
go
back
out there. Yeah, exactly.
100%. I reckon we'll move on and get a coffee, eh?
Let's do that.
Alrighty, so we're sitting here in a cheeky little alleyway in Sydney. A little bit of a special find over a coffee, and a couple more questions I want to ask you, brother. One being, with that following of now 900,000 people at the time of recording this, what's the weirdest thing that you've received off the back of one of those followers? Or the weirdest thing that's happened due to having that many people's eyes on you?
Okay, recently, actually no, I've got two stories to tell. So the first one is I recently went to Byron, and we were in Lennox Head, which is just like next door, and we're at a shopping centre, alright. And my mate was parked in the car park, and I was running out to go grab some food, and then so he's like parked. I ran out, got my food, and I walked back out into the car park, and he's not where he parked, right? So they're obviously playing some prank, taking the piss out of it. They've moved spots, and they're probably laughing somewhere in their car, like looking at me, like stand there with all this food, like where are you guys? Yeah. Anyway, so I like finally find them. I walk over, and then like I open the car door, and I say like, oh, you guys just made me look like an absolute fuckhead. Get in the car, drive off. And then about 2 seconds later, I get some bloke that comments on my Instagram photo that I posted. He's just like, "Oh, I just saw you in Lennox Head, and you just got in your mate's car and then quoted exactly what I said when I opened the car door." And then as soon as this was literally not even 5 minutes after we're on our way back to Byron, I was just like, I showed my mates, I'm like, how does this work? There was like no one around us and stuff. And this bloke hears what I say like as I get in the car. I thought that was pretty extraordinary.
It's pretty interesting.
Bit stalkerish, but it happens. Like they'll DM me and be like 2 minutes after I just got, like I was on the Ferris wheel in Darling Harbour the other day, and I just get off the Ferris wheel, and then some bloke just messages me 2 minutes later, just like, I just saw you get off the Ferris wheel. I'm like, all right, come say g'day.
Is it weird like when that begins to happen for the first time?
Yeah, definitely. But no, it's kind of I mean, sometimes I don't get used to it, certain interactions, but most of the time, I'm pretty used to it, and it's just it just happens. It's cool, and yeah,
it is pretty cool. It's special, and I think it's something you'll always look back on and be really appreciative for that. And I think you said it there. Come say g'day. That mentality is what will allow you to continue to grow.
For sure.
The fact that you are willing to open up and allow people to come and say g'day and have a chat.
Exactly.
You're a personable guy, so it helps.
As long as I don't get off that Ferris wheel and eat shit and fall on my face, it's all good. If
and
they can
find
see
it
that
on the For You page a week later.
Yeah, there's someone got it on camera.
Yeah. Talk to me about, this is a question I love to ask my guests. Are there any regrets that you have in your life? And if there are, do you mind sharing and talking about the lesson you've learned from that?
Yeah, my biggest regret was probably it probably wasn't joining the school plays at school, to be honest. They hosted I went to Knox Grammar in Wahroonga, and they hosted heaps of school plays for drama and stuff like that. And at the time I was young and naive, and I didn't do them just because it was frowned upon if you're in the drama school plays and stuff. And I was at an all boys school, so I never did that. But then when I was sitting in the audience and watching them, I was just like, oh look, that'd be really cool. I should be up there and stuff like that. And I let what people thought about the school plays back in the day affect me going and doing them. And if I could learn from that, it'd be do what you want to do and don't listen to what other people do. You hear it all the time, but it's so true. If you want to do something, do it, and don't let simple as that. Don't let other people influence your decisions, because at the end of the day, then you're missing out. They're not gaining anything from you doing it or not. So you're the only one that's at fault, and you're missing out. So you may as well do it. I
reckon that's the single hardest thing you can do as a young human being in today's society is
big time
strip away the care factor of how people see you or how you're perceived, and allow yourself to be 100% you. It's something that my most recent guest, Zach, and I spoke about. Is for him, that was his biggest fear, not being 100% himself. And it's so easy in today's society because social media has built an expectation of who we're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Our friends have built an expectation based off the life that they've lived, what they've copped criticism for, what's made them embarrassed or feel as though they're an outsider before in their life. And it's something that I come to grips with every day, is trying to be 100% authentically you. And you're right, when you look back on those decisions and those moments, you realise that you're the only one that missed out.
Exactly.
You missed out on the opportunity to be a better version of yourself for it.
100%.
So, man, I look back, it's funny because I look back on being around 9 or 10 years of age, and I went to a Christian school, a private school, and boys and girls through junior and high, it was like we all went to preschool through to year 10. I was going to say year 12, I didn't get there, year 10 together. And it was interesting because a friend of mine reached out to me from school. She's one of my good friends at school, and she said, it's funny to see you doing what you do now, because when the role for Jesus in the This Is Your Life flashback at the end of year assembly was up for grabs, you wanted to be the guy who was in front of everyone on stage. And I look back at those things and I'm like, I was lucky though that during my later years of school, same thing. It was kind of like I was a footy boy. I loved playing sport. So it's kind of like that would be the embarrassing thing to do.
Yeah.
But during your youth, when you've got that like zero care factor, you're just you.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
So those very early years of life, and I think if we can learn something from the older generation, we can definitely learn something from the younger generation.
100%.
Where there is no worry about the influence that you hold or how you perceive. You're just you.
100%.
There's something about that youthful child energy
So true, yeah.
is very authentic. Very authentic. Talk to me about your biggest fear.
Well, it's not the ocean anymore, I promise you about that.
You'd be worried if it was.
Oh yeah, big time. No, I got over that a while ago. My biggest fear, probably not reaching my potential. That, because I always think about that and I go, oh look, I really hope I do and stuff like that. And I think the fact that I have that mentality and that fear, I kind of thrive off that, and it's actually heading me in the right direction. But yeah, I'd say not reaching my potential. I reckon that scares me, because I got to think about everything I'm doing. I'm like, look, I hope this is going to lead one step towards where my potential and stuff like that, and or will it not? You don't know. So you got to take that risk, and look, I reckon the fear, I thrive off it, and that will put me in the right direction. And then look, hopefully I do. All
right. So second last question I'm going to ask you here today. We know that Tom Ford, the 20-year-old guy from Sydney, Australia, some may or may not know that you have South African and Australian background, so you've got a nice mix there. But what's one thing that the audience and the people who follow you wouldn't exactly know about Tom Ford?
I used to be really big in scooter riding, and I actually have a YouTube channel that is purely all scooter videos. And no one from my TikTok audience has caught on to that yet. But there's about, I think 10 or 15 videos there of me riding a scooter when I was, 9 to 12 years old. So if you guys want to check that out, that's TJ Ford Scoots, one word, on YouTube. So that's one thing that no one knows about me.
I love it. Let me ask a question off the back of that quickly.
Yeah.
You must have some fucking calloused ankles, bro. You had a tail which you'd cop to the ankles.
You have no idea, it was the worst. And luckily they don't last long, but at the time, while it's painful, it's bad.
There's nothing worse than a scooter to the ankle. Last question I want to ask you. Let's get in touch a little bit more with the romantic side of Tom Ford, right?
Oh yeah.
Good looking 20-year-old bloke from Sydney, Australia. Mate, with an audience, there's plenty of girls I can imagine that are within that 900,000 followers. If you've got a gorgeous girl that you're going to take out and impress for the day, what's the go-to date day?
Oh.
Like signature Tom Ford.
I'd probably take them somewhere fancy, and it's a bit cheeky as well, because I actually have a mate that works at O-Bar, and that's very fancy. Nice. So he could help out there with the
cheeky little stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe a couple of discounts, that would help. Somewhere fancy with a nice view. Make it fun. Don't make it too formal or anything like that. You want you want it to be relaxed, and then go for a walk around the city.
I love
it. You got to make it spontaneous, right? You want everything to be spontaneous. If it's too planned and you're too strict to it, then it's just going to be too robotic. Make it relaxing. Look, honestly, that's all I could say. I mean, it depends on the girl, but as long as you can keep it natural and spontaneous, I reckon they'll enjoy your company.
I love it. I might write a few of those down myself, eh? Legend. Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure sitting down, touring a little bit of Sydney with you, which has been nice, because it's been a minute through COVID that we've had the opportunity to come back and do this.
That's
so
right.
really appreciate your time, brother. I'm
No
very
worries,
excited
man.
for your
I'm
future.
glad you reached out, and I've enjoyed it. So thanks for having me.
I'm a fan of Tom Ford.
Cheers.
Blow a stack for your niggas with your trapping ass.